Good afternoon. Today is the 22nd of April. I'm in my mother's car today. I've just taken her to an appointment, and whilst I wait for her, I've come to this very sunny car park, and I've got some of your questions from the other day. So we'll go through those, and we'll see what answers we come up with. Trevor Lee says, and this is not the normal sort of question we get from him. The long-time viewers will know this. I love the new logo and introduction, thank you. It is very much in the style of a 1980s sort of VHS ident, really. The question: if you have two identical cars, the same make, model, year, specification, registration, but one has got 3,000 worth of options, sunroof, heated leather seats, upgraded infotainment system, upgraded alloys, how much can you expect to get more on selling these vehicles after, say, 3 to 4 years? Can you demand a full £3,000 on value of the extras? And of course, no secret missions for the month. He's given me a rest. That's very kind of him. There's actually a very, very, very old video that Top Gear did in about 1997, I think it was, about optional extras and whether they were worth it. Now, because cars depreciate so heavily after they leave a showroom, whether they've been discounted, they'll just depreciate. The margin that, between a car with no extras and one with the extras will just decrease over time. That's just the way that it is. And you probably won't get your £3,000 back if you specify all those things. There are some things that are absolutely essential to a modern motorist, really. So most people who buy a 3-year-old car, things like air conditioning. A lot of people want parking sensors on their car. Many want Android Auto and Apple CarPlay capability now. And sometimes you get those things standard, sometimes you don't. Certainly air conditioning, if you don't have it, it's going to be very difficult to sell. For a long time, when MG sold their base models, like the Explorer versions of the ZS and the MG3, they didn't have air conditioning on them. The MG3 Export didn't even come with remote central locking. Those are going to be very difficult cars to sell. And in that particular case, you can't even specify those as options. That's just the way the car comes, and you could specify some, nice stripes on MG3 and metallic paint, and that's about it. So certain trims are more popular than others, and with something like a Mercedes, there's this idea that unless you specify a few extras, I think my mother specified some extras on this particular car, it's difficult to sell. Example, you can get a manual C-Class, but nobody really wants a manual C-Class. So the optional automatic on some of the lower powered engines is pretty much essential. Not saying the gearbox is particularly bad or anything like that, it's just people don't want them. So it's more to do actually with the spec that you choose in the first place. And with one or two exceptions, the options, that they're often not that important, but yes, choose your new car carefully in that regard. Mr. Youssef Ashraf from Ashraf on Cars says, I love the new branding. Well, thank you, sir. What has been your biggest moment in your years of driving? Moment of oversteer, lock up, or whatever? Apart from when the clutch went in the Tivoli, and then I was driving once as well, again, clutch related thing, on the Santa Pod drag strip in 2017 in an Octavia VRS, and suddenly the clutch just totally went. Not like the Tivoli where it was intermittent, it just totally went. You couldn't get any gears. That was pretty bad, just it wouldn't go into any of the gears, none of them, apart from neutral. That wasn't much fun. But one I remember most of all, though, is in 2009, I think it is, as far as I remember, was when I was driving from my mother's place in Hampshire back to Epsom, where we were living at the time. I had my old Rover 45, it was a 2004 1.4 Club SE, and I just came off the M25, went towards the back end of Leatherhead, which is where the Tesco is in Leatherhead, and came down a hill. It's not a particularly steep hill most of the time, but this was when it was snowing. And it was pretty bad. I got to a little roundabout at the bottom of the hill, and a few people had already gone into each other, and I pressed the brake. The car was fitted with ABS, but the ABS didn't really work. It doesn't work on snow very well, and the wheels just sort of locked up and the little pedal vibrating, and I think that's just sort of sliding. I slid down the hill, and other people had already gone to the back of each other, but for some reason, miraculously, my car stopped about a foot short of the car in front, and the car behind me also managed to stop in time. And so after things had calmed down a bit, I was able, because I was, far enough away to just reverse a little bit, and I got out of there. But yeah, that was really scary. No control over the car. No damage, of course, to mine, but damage to others as well. Yeah, it wasn't much fun, that. I don't recommend it. Nick D says, impressed by new channel branding. Thank you, sir. In light of the recent clutch fault with the Tivoli, I thought to ask you a question related to reliability. Have you ever owned a car that proved unreliable or gave more problems than you expected? For the record, mine was a 2006 Ford Mondeo, a 2-litre automatic. I've owned 2 years ago, very similar engine and gearbox to the one that was in the Mondeo that you reviewed for the reviews. Yes, that's correct. It was a 2-litre automatic. I think in recent times it's been the Astra Twin Top. That was a bit of a nightmare, really. The roof worked for the first couple of days and then didn't. The boot lid didn't work properly. I had to get a new tyre on it. The thermostat housing decided to break, which is a really common problem with those. Oh, etc, 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 etc. Just, yeah. The particular car that we had just, I think, was a poor example, unfortunately, and I did try to check it over and everything, and yeah, the chap who had it before me was actually quite helpful, and we're still friends on Facebook and stuff, and he helped me out actually fixing various things on it, but I just eventually had to get rid of it. We had too many cars at the time. It was towards the end of the first lockdown, and we just didn't need so many cars, so we got rid of it and we bought the Rover, which, well, yeah, that's not being reliable either, but I prefer it, so we're going to keep it. Mr. Alan Simpson says, the logo and accompanying tune are a great combination. Bravo, Mr. Lloyd and Mr. Bill. Question, as a man who travels the UK to review cars and takes a commission secretary to people wanting to hotel chain of choice. I use the Travelodge sometimes. I have used Airbnb. I've used just like local cheaper hotels, but what I tend to do these days is just go for the Premier Inn. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, or unless they're watching and they want to sponsor me. I just find with them it's a very simple process to just do everything. They have Wi-Fi. You can pay extra for speed up Wi-Fi, but they give you Wi-Fi. Travelodge do not. They have more hotels that are fitted with HDMI ports for plugging in my computer to the big television, so when I'm on the road I can actually watch something and actually edit on the laptop at the same time, which is really good. I can do both of those. I just find the standard of the room a little bit better. Travelodge is a little bit cheaper, but not that much cheaper. It can be really expensive actually. So that's what I tend to use, and I'm going to be filming again this weekend, and I will be using one of those as well. That's what I do, and I'm very happy to recommend them. But again, no sponsorship, but maybe in the future, who knows. Robert Evans asks, after saying the branding looks good, which, well, thank you, sir. What are your thoughts on the last generation Suzuki Baleno? That was one, I think, imported from 2016 to 2019. I have one of the last 319 models of the booster engine. That's the 1 litre as far as I remember. And I really like it. The engine has an excellent combination of low-down torque combined with some real pep from the turbo. I have actually driven an SX4 S-Cross with that engine, and I agree. I average 50 miles per gallon at least on mixed use, and over 55 miles per gallon on motor run. Yeah, it's similar sort of economy to what I used to get in my old Toledo, which is very good. I see very few of them around and wonder why people don't appreciate them. What a good car it is. There's a very good value second-hand too. Yes, I would love to get one of those on Sensible Second-Hand Reviews. They are actually within the price range for Sensible Second-Hand Reviews now. And so I would like to get one of those on the channel. They are very underrated. It's just when someone goes out normally to buy that sort of car, they just go and buy a Fiesta or a Polo or a Corsa. That's what they do, because those are the ones that people know. And if you look at the sales figures that I do every month, you'll actually see that that's often what happens. So yeah, just lack of recognition probably. And the styling, I don't know, is to everyone's taste. The back of it looks okay. The front of it, I think, is a bit more controversial. I don't think it's ugly or anything though. I just think people just are not that aware of them, and they just didn't buy them. Suzuki were importing really low numbers of them, like the Celerio actually, same thing. And they just decided to stop importing them because they weren't making any money. Sean Cook says, I'll just really read part of the comment because it's quite long. Don't trip over the microphone lead, it can really spoil your day. Yes, it can. It's not a good idea. Question, do you ever encounter any unexpected gems or otherwise interesting vehicles in the course of your consultancy for customers? If so, what would be the rarest one you've found? Probably the rarest one I found was a 2005 Mitsubishi Space Star 1.5 automatic, which didn't sound particularly glamorous, but we had a choice between that and I think it's a 2001, 2002 Focus, and they were about the same price. But the Space Star had this enormous wodge of history on it, and it was in reasonable condition. It had a cam belt done as well. The Focus was lower mileage, but older, and there's a little squeaky problem with the clutch, which isn't probably a big issue, but it's obviously something of an issue sometimes. Next question is from Fergus Ogilvie. Question on warranty. Do you think they jump through hoops to get out of it? Skoda's warranty is 3 years or 60,000 miles, changed from 3 years or 100,000 miles. We have a Skoda Superb at work with possible head gasket failure. Skoda don't want to know. How is your experience with the annual administrator? I don't really know at the moment. The car's still in the garage. I'm hoping we'll get it back soon. Yeah, I don't think they've denied warranty claim or anything. I just don't know if they've actually found anything wrong with it. So yeah, certainly Skoda are a bit mean, taking that warranty down from, I think 3 years is a bit mean to manufacturers anyway, really, but it's standard, taking down 60,000 miles and not wanting to know anything about a car that's only 6,000 miles out of warranty. I think that's a bit mean, but I don't know. I presume they take these things on a case-by-case basis. David H says, but your new channel branding is very professional. I will be buying a t-shirt and a mug. Yes, those will be available soon, I hope. Do you think that the advent of electric cars will slowly spell the end of the classic car scene? I'm not sure if electric cars will last 25 years or more. Well, I think the thing is with this, we just don't really know how long these electric cars are going to last. We just don't particularly know at the moment. It's very difficult to say whether things like, I don't know, a Leaf from 2011 will be a classic in 2035. I don't really know. It could be. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm sure, 25 years ago, people were kind of saying the same thing about the cars then. I think we say it all the time, don't we? Have to wait and see, I think. Message from Mr. Colin Hicks, who's provided a lot of cars for the channel, actually. I was doing research recently whether Suzuki and Fiat have shared engines. This will make sense. Some garages are combined Suzuki Fiat showrooms. I think I've seen a couple of those. Suzuki's booster jet engines are well regarded. Yeah, I've driven one of those with booster jet. That was the Ignis, and that was very good. Fiat's less so. I think there have been some problems with the twin air engine, maybe. Did they have a partnership? Yes, they did, because they were in partnership for forbidden fuel engines. We can't talk about those on the channel, so we're going to have to skip on to the next question. Next question is Richard Howlett. How will I help you buy a couple of t-shirts and a mug? Well, they'll be available soon, sir. Has the unfortunate last week put you off SsangYong? Do you intend to keep the car? I think we do intend to keep the car. I just am a bit annoyed that it happened. It could have happened to anyone, any car, to be honest. I'm also annoyed by the fact that at the moment they're saying they can't find a fault with it, which, there is a fault with it. Otherwise I wouldn't have bothered, bringing it to them and cancelling the filming that I was doing in the Lake District with Planet Auto the next day. it did sort of put my plans sort of asunder, really. And yeah, I don't know whether the service I'm getting is the same or better than anyone else, really. I've not had to use service for a new car like this, apart from the say-out when I had to get the USB ports put back when they fell through the central armrest at the back. That wasn't really a big issue because I booked it in about 3 weeks in advance, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's too early to say about anything like that, but so far I want my car back because I like it. Adam Tom says, I'm excited about a new logo and excited about merchandise. Brilliant. It's not about cars, this question. It's more additional to support you in the channel. Would you be offering to join button on YouTube or something like Patreon where we can support for a couple of bucks a month? Yes, I am in the process of setting up channel memberships. We are allowed to have them. I do apologise, viewers. I've had to take the phone out of its mount and the windscreen because it's actually really hot today, and you know, I've had some of the problems like this when using phones for recording, but it actually overheated just then. But I'm just going to hold it like this out of the direct sun, and hopefully we won't have the problem again. Yes, I'm looking to set up channel memberships. You can set channel memberships up now with under 5,000 subscribers. It used to be 5,000, now it's only 1,000 you need to do it. And we'll see how that goes. I've already got some levels that you can support the channel at. One of them is a very exciting level. I mean, to get some free stuff. But yes, we are looking into that, and it'll be wonderful. It means we can do things like potentially making more episodes of Tree Jacket reviews, and also not having to probably invest, ooh gosh, 80% of the money it costs to run the channel myself. So basically, for every pound at the moment it costs to run the channel, about 20% of it is covered by people who just give money a month, and also the YouTube ad revenue. So there's a bit of a gap there. So the rest of it I have to pay for myself. Sedapesh Mode, resident channel celebrity, asks. If I just plug my headphones back and actually give better audio. There we go. What did you used to do before you started the consultancy business, which is 2017? I worked for many years as a freelance charity administrator. I normally worked in the faith-based sector. I used to help set up big events and run those sort of things, and deal with correspondence and health and safety and all kinds of things like that. Yeah, I did that for a number of years. I actually only stopped doing that in about 2019. I sort of ran the consultancy business and the YouTube channel alongside that, but when the channel sort of took off, and I started to actually, you know, think that I sort of wanted to spend more time on, I stopped doing most of charity work. I also have since 2010 been helping my mother with the family property portfolio that we have, that was given to my mother around 30 years ago by my grandfather. So I help her to run that. I'm still actually doing that, and actually the property work is a much steadier income than the vehicle consultancy work or YouTube. It's a much steadier source of income. So yes, it doesn't all come from YouTube and finding cars. I'd love more of it to come from YouTube and finding cars for people, but a lot of the time, particularly what's been going on, the work finding cars hasn't been very consistent. So that is something that there's not a lot I can do about it. It's just the way that it is. I had various clients pull out because I couldn't afford a car, or you know, they just, other circumstances prevailed. So yes, you know, other options like channel membership is something that I think I'll be experimenting with, and we'll just see how that goes. So there we are, viewers. I'm sorry it's ended like this. It's just this mount being in that position is not good for recording videos unless you're actually going to sort of keep moving, because the phone tends to overheat. But thank you ever so much indeed for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos, and hopefully I'll have an announcement about Tivoli and t-shirts and all kinds of things like that soon, and some mugs. But I very much appreciate all the questions that I've had. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the channel at the moment. And yes, I do look forward to being able to give more people an opportunity. Please don't feel obliged to do that. That's just something that people have asked me about, and I just want to give an opportunity if that's how you feel you want to help out. So yeah, social media links in the description below, and thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching.